Good morning, girlfriends. Good morning, girlfriends inspired by God. For today's devotion, I'm looking at a verse from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. My husband Kurt and I walk every day. A week ago, last Thursday, I marveled at the beautiful day, exclaiming, "Kurt, it's summer! It's the first day of summer. Finally, listen to the birds. Look at the baby ducks. Oh, Kurt, I've waited months and months for this." A few steps further, I stopped mid-stride and said in a quieter voice, "Kurt, I never appreciated spring." That's a slight exaggeration, but very slight. I walk every day. For 1,455 days I have walked. Many of those days in the cold, in the rain, in the wind, anxiously awaiting warm, dry days, light breezes all about. And in my zeal to welcome the joys of summer, I feel like I let the newness of spring escape me. The awakening of nature slip by. The renewal of God's most wonderful creation overlooked in my focus on next. For the remainder of my walk, I thought back on the previous weeks. I knew we'd had a lot going on, but I wanted to remember it. Memorial Day, Lent and Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Wednesday playdates, Thursday playdates. Harder to remember were what we'd been doing on an ordinary afternoon in April, an early morning in May. I remembered blooming snowdrops, but what about the irises? Like so many of us, I get excited by what's ahead. I got to speak in Wilbur. Kurt and I got away to Palm Springs. I got to enjoy the release of my first children's book. The weeks sped by, and I found myself looking back, not sure I truly enjoyed and appreciated the moments at hand. I was always looking ahead, anxiously awaiting next. Remembering my walks, for weeks and months I slogged through the cold and wet, thinking I just need to get through the next 20 minutes. I just need to tackle one more month of wintry 40-degree weather, one more season of brutal cold. And then spring came, and I was so into survival mode that I missed the wonder of the season. I can do that with God too. I think about my prayers. I want this. I want that. I want to get there and I want to get that. I want to get through this and I want to get out of that. And in doing so, I can miss the beauty of now, right now. The wonder and awesomeness of this very moment. The great joy of God's transforming love and faithfulness. I'm a writer, for goodness sakes. My stories are not about the summer times in my life. They're about the falls and winters, the spring times. I describe days that got colder, experiences that found me bundled up against the elements, changes that found me with a new lease on life, as they say. They're the stories that mattered. They're the stories that found me growing the most, that I will always treasure, that I will never forget. Today's title started as Waiting on God. While that's true, it really doesn't tell the whole story. It's really about finding God's extraordinary in our ordinary while we wait on God. Not only do we honor God's will, His way and His when, we also honor what He's doing now. We honor the preparations He's making in our life, the turns He needs us to make, the redirections He finds necessary, the changes around us that might have nothing to do with our prayer requests. And while those changes are happening, we get to enjoy the first roses of spring, the warmth of an April afternoon, fall's crispness and colors, winter's quiet. God treasures our hopes and dreams. He loves walking with us as we strive. He also loves when we stop and say, wow. As you may know, my grandson Enzo just moved to Arizona. I know we're going to continue to have a delightful relationship. Excuse me. I'll see him on family vacations, holidays, and visits to the desert. We'll have great times. What I'll miss are the ordinaries. Ordinary Wednesdays when we're sitting side by side reading our books. Ordinary afternoons when we're finding a new park to visit. Ordinary sleepovers with a trip to the Lego store. Whether we're enjoying an ordinary adventure with a 7-year-old or an ordinary adventure with God, it's the best. It will always be the best. Don't miss it. Ladies, until next time.